Welcome, everyone, to an open door. It's Monday, January 13th, 2025. The title of this hour is Where the Rubber Meets the Road. The general intention is to take an idea from A Course in Miracles and sink into it with the intention of accessing how to use it when we get up off the cushion or we step away from these meetings. How do we allow the truth teachings to inform our every breath, essentially? I'm in a mode. um, I do have a song. This is fun because Pat, who doesn't typically come to this meeting, I expect she's not, sent me a link to this song. It's Monty Python, so it's worth watching the video as well as listening to the music. Um, I'm going to start. I'm basically what I'm going to do, Barbie. So be on call. I highlighted only a paragraph. Um, Chapter 12, Section 7 in the Purple Book. It's the first paragraph of a section called the Special Curriculum. My intention is to read that, then pause and play the song, and then unpause and share a little bit about how um, this very specific pointing is informing where I am right now, and then opening it up. I don't expect to talk but a few minutes. Anybody want to say anything before I? So here are the words. Oh, they bring tears to my eyes, by the way. Only love is strong because it is undivided. Strong do not attack because they see no need to do so. Before the idea of attack can enter your mind, you must have perceived yourself as weak. And I'm inspired to say that requires the acceptance that somewhere inside of you, you perceived yourself as something as other than love, which is what created you. Because you had attacked yourself, and in the beginning there was only one, so if there was an attack, it was on yourself, yeah? Because you had attacked yourself and believed that that attack was effective, you behold yourself as weakened, no longer perceiving yourself and all your brothers as equal, and regarding yourself as weaker. You attempt to equalize the situation you have made. It's chills here, right? So, how do you attempt to equalize things? You use attack to do so because you believe that attack was successful in weakening you. If I can't be of love, then neither can my brother. It's kind of insane. So, this is a song that is designed to put who we think we are as a separate being in perspective. So enjoy. And I am gonna hit the shit. I'm gonna hit the save button, so it will be part of an open door YouTube playlist in case anyone wants to listen again. So here we go. Okay. Now that we got that out of the way, oh man, that only love is strong because it is undivided. So before there's a line, my favorite line from the Tao, which says, um, before the word of God, there was the Tao. So before words came and created the sense of division, there was just love. That's what Course calls it. And it's strong. And there's nothing that's attacking it, right? There's just love. And we're never not that. As love, undivided, there's no attack. So far, we're all together, right? Because what is there to attack? Why would you want to attack? Before the idea of attack can enter your mind, you must have perceived yourself as weak. That perception comes somehow from this belief that you cut yourself off from God or love, which I think everyone here can agree, maybe you can't, but theoretically or otherwise, if we are an extension of that which created us, which is God or love or Brahman, whatever you want to call it, and that is what enlivens us. We are an extension of the life that created us. If we cut ourselves off, then we don't exist anymore, do we? Joel Goldsmith calls it, and in the New Testament, but Joel Goldsmith's the one that taught, it's like the branch that's cut off from the tree, it will wither and die. It no longer has anything, right? So this desire to attack another comes from the belief that we are no longer connected to our source and no longer connected to the other. That's the only way we see ourselves as weak. The moment we see ourselves as separate from the divine, we have attacked ourselves. Now we see ourselves as weak. We see ourselves as needing to protect ourselves from others. So here we are, we're seeing ourselves as weak, and somehow we want, so we're out of balance with the world we see outside of ourselves. And the egoic mind, based on this teaching, says, well, there's only the one thing that we can do. If I can't be connected to God and all powerful and strong, then neither can my brother. So there's this belief that while I attack, the only way to do this is to weaken my brother. But the teaching states that all attack does is weaken myself, because in the moment of attack, I am stating that what I am is not my source. So every time I feed any thought of attack, I am weakening myself. Feels kind of insane. It doesn't even make, like, the more I sit with it, the more insane it feels. And it also doesn't, like, it doesn't even feel like it's possible, simply because I could never have left my source. The moment I leave my source, I am no longer consciously aware. So then, where I am with all of this becomes very interesting, because attack thoughts, this feeling that I have to protect myself, or I have to justify my existence, or prove my worth, or figure out how Cindy can serve others so she can justify continuing existence, continues to happen in the personality. So what do you do then based on this teaching? It becomes really interesting. And the basic teaching is to just hold it, to just watch it, to just allow it, this sense of being separate, to arise in consciousness and accept that it can't be true. That doesn't mean that the personality isn't true. It just means that this sense of separation can't be true. Like, she is an experience within, and therefore can experience fully without holding herself apart, which is the only thing that could ever weaken ourselves. And if I allow Cindy to be fully Cindy, while still knowing that what she is something that never left the vine or her source, then I don't have to invest in this sense of feeling weak, because the sense of being weak just doesn't even make any sense if all I am is an expression of God in this moment, the personality. And the moment I no longer feed the sense of being weak, there's no longer a need to attack others. No longer a need here to make myself feel important by making them less important in my world. Opening it up for conversation. Really, not that I'm putting anyone on the spot. Cassandra usually waits for the end, but she already discussed before we hit the record button how some teachings of Francis Lucille lit this up too. So I'm looking forward to that. But I'm handing things over to Andrew. Hey, Andrew, good to have you here.
Hello, everyone. Great to see you all. Great to be here. Yeah, this is a tough topic. I think, it could be that just seeing others as individuals is a form of attack because that's part of separation, being one person and seeing other people. The only solution I think there is, and it's what we all have to master eventually, is to love everyone equally, just like family, just like your own child. We have to learn to love everyone equally, and maybe then, nirvana happens, or maybe that's when it ends. But that's the goal as I see it. That's really all I've got. Thank you. Thank you for
Thank you.
listening.
Thank you. And I've been practicing something like that very specifically with my children, in noticing how whenever a thought comes up that I want them to be different than they are, like somehow there's this belief that they're not doing their life properly. I don't have that belief with too many others, in a way that, it's subtle, but it's here. And that's when I practice this sense of equanimity, or at least I attempt to when I catch it. Now, wait a minute, they get to live their own life, and I get to practice loving whatever that is, and I could share, but I don't need, where is it here that I need them to be different so that I could be okay? And it's an interesting way to practice what you were pointing to. Rana.
Hello, everyone. I'm grateful to be here. I'd like to start out by saying I recognize how important repetition is. I turned to this section in my purple book, and it's full of underline, and there's a couple of notes in the margins, and I can see over time how I've added to these little notes, and things have become clearer as I expand and open to this. And so I really have some clarity about this weakness, this unworthiness literally just stems from this idea that somehow I separated myself from God. And right there, that makes it so physical. There's like duality right there. I've done something to my maker, and so there it is right from the get-go. And as Cindy was reading this to us, I wanted to share what came up and see how this hits anybody else. The ego says the attack will make it all equal again. It's like, I feel weaker, so now the attack seemingly to someone else to make you weak too. And now we're all weak. So, the ego is just like, if I'm going to be weak, you're going to be weak too. And then it kind of makes it equal, but it's not healthy equal. You know, it's based on a insane idea that we're separate. Because I don't want to be the weaker one, right? Who's the I that doesn't want to be weaker? And so the insanity of that is just really showing me. But as Cindy was going on, what I heard clearly was watching the personality as awareness is key. But that personality and all the personalities are part of consciousness, within consciousness. And so that is a manifestation and an expression as well. And it may be part of the play, but sort of leading to what Andrew said, the love and the appreciation of the infinite personalities, you know, and then to sit with seeming personalities and discuss beyond the personality is so helpful for me, because I really just am beginning to sense that this is just isness. The personalities are isness. What I see is isness. The thoughts are part of isness. It's just more like that music was talking about. Don't panic on dry land. It's not really that big of a deal, you know, but that sense of being alone and separate, that I've done something wrong from the beginning, makes it so serious, you know, and that's the illusion is, and the ignorance that I've walked in a long time, that it really means something. It doesn't mean anything. It just is. So that's what I was led to share today. Thank you.
Thank you. Who else would like to share? Please, Amy.
Oh, my beloveds. You have been with me for the last hour and a half, and in my prayers last night. I just came from a meeting with the town leadership and a committee, and I had to stand and disagree with the leadership of the community and the leadership of the committee, the select board and this committee. I had to point out to them their inconsistencies and their lack of transparency and the outright lies that they were telling to the public. And you all helped me to do that. As Rana has said, this takes repetition, because the mind, the egoic mind training is so embedded, isn't it? And so I sat and looked at every person. In fact, I began working with them before last night, holding each person, as Andrew said, as myself, as holy thoughts of God. And I also remembered, as Michelle and I have been talking about, fear is an experience, because I have been afraid. I was afraid to do this, but I took it as allow the fear, feel the fear, let it envelop you and expand your being as the fear. At the same time, you know the oneness of everything. This is refining the soul. This is the evolution of our awareness, is holding two opposing ideas in our consciousness at the same time and working with both, knowing both are valid, both are true, not resisting either one. One of the chair of the select board next to me said, literally attacked me and said, "You just won't shut up. You've been against this from the beginning. You just don't want any more development in Harpswell. You. And I just said, Kevin, it's not appropriate to be personal about this. And I'm not going to participate with you in this kind of discussion. He goes, well, what? So you give up? And I said, oh, no. I don't give up. I'm just not participating at your level. And I didn't say it like, I just said, no, I'm not going there. And I recognized every person and said, I honor your participation. I honor what you have been trying to do. I'm not questioning your integrity. I simply disagree. So living this is where we are. And we are a little tiny group of God. And we are having this shared experience of doing this together. And I think it is influencing way beyond the 15 people on this chat. And I am filled with gratitude for each and every one of you, because I could not have done this by myself. I did not do this by myself. I did it with you. Barbara, Cindy, Rana, Chuck, Livy, Indigo, William, Richard, Andrew, Sandra, David, and Michelle, and Carrie, and Kendall. Thank you. Thank you for being with me, and thank you for letting me share. I love us so much.
The moment you said we're a small group, the thought that arose is Jesus only had a dozen, and we're more than that here. So, and then of course, Richard knows that there's Dr. Hawkins, and the power of us doing this together. Thank you. We are all one. That's correct, Nateka. Sandra.
Good morning. Thank you. Well, talk about where the rubber meets the road, Amy. I think to varying degrees, probably we all find ourselves in situations like this. I know I do. So this reading, to me, fundamentally said to me that it's all about my identity. All of it, even all the different words. It's all about, it starts with me. It doesn't start with them or the others that I perceive. It starts with me and the perception of who I truly believe I am, which has completely changed over the course of all these years. So it says the strong do not attack. So the man sitting next to Amy, poor guy, doesn't know who he is, feels weak, feels
And-
threatened,
And
feels
I read that before I went in. I read exactly that before I went in. Thank you.
so poor guy, you know, and I've been there too. I've been him. And sometimes I still am. So I had mentioned to Cindy that I was listening to Francis Lucille this weekend, and it's not surprising to me anymore how all of the teachings validate each other and reinforce each other. That's not a surprise. But he said something like, when a thought comes in, stop trying to investigate the thought. I did that a lot. Where did that thought come from? Was I conditioned this way as a child? Is that the separate self? I have to get to the root of this. I have to find out the source of this thought. And what he said that was so aligned with this was that when we try to get rid of the thought or rid of the feeling or rid of the reaction, we are validating it. We're saying, that's real, that's true, I have to do something about it. And all that does is reinforce it. And how that aligns with this for me is that when we accept our invulnerability, when we accept our vulnerability, when we say, I am vulnerable, then I know, then I'm saying I am weak, and that's not the truth of who I am. So what Francis was saying was, don't investigate the thought, investigate the truth. What is true here? Like Byron Katie, is this true? So why do I still sometimes perceive myself as weak when I know that's not true? It's perfectly obvious that from that weakness, I would try to defend myself. I would give validity to the weak thought. And there's such a simple solution. Remember who I am. It comes back to that over and over and over again. Remember who I truly am. And when I know that there is absolutely nothing that can hurt me, that I am safe, I am whole, I am complete, then I perceive everything differently. I no longer perceive attack. I have compassion. I have compassion. And I have strength, a different kind of strength, a humble kind of strength, a meek kind of strength. It's like the opposite of what we think strength is. And then that means I can speak the truth, but when I'm speaking the truth, I'm speaking it with compassion and love. And sometimes I don't need to speak the truth anymore. I mean, some situations require it, as Amy described, but sometimes I can just be quiet and send love. And then I am no longer validating the insanity. And the other thing he said that I'll end with that I loved, I put it in capital letters in my notes. You know, when you put something in capital letters, that's like, remember this, intention sanctifies the action. So it's not about what I do or what I say. What's my intention? Where's it coming from? Who am I when I'm saying it? Am I Sandy, the personality Sandy, who the false self, whatever you want to call it? Or am I truly speaking and acting from source where there is wisdom? And if I don't know, I say nothing. But once I know, and I'm rooted in that, I'm rooted in the tree, the branch isn't cut off, whoever said that. It doesn't really matter because whatever I say is going to be right. I don't have to debate it in my head anymore. And yes, we do take all of this so seriously, Rana. It really matters, you know? And the lighthearted feeling of, that's the meekness part, you know, it's the lighthearted joy that comes through the knowing of the truth. Really, like, just lightens the load. And I get to be here with you almost every day talking about this. So, Cindy, the reason I usually wait to speak is because I'm very clear that I already know what I think. I want to hear what you think. I want to be totally open to whatever happens here, regardless of what I thought yesterday or this morning. And every time I am blessed with that. Thanks, guys.
Well, from a real selfish standpoint, I like to know what you think, and don't always wait an hour to be blessed by your sharings. There's a flow. Part of your share brought me to Christian Sundberg. You know, didn't he teach it's really just the quality of our intention as we go about this life? So I heard that in your share. I was blessed by it. I'm glad you didn't wait. Andrew.
That was great sharing, Sandra. Yeah, it makes me think, you know, how do we get through the day and not lose faith in A Course in Miracles? And it comes down to trust. I know in the manual for teachers, trust is like the first thing you have to really master. And we have to make choices and get on with business. Everything we do is some sort of judgment, basically. And the Course tells us that we really can't judge. So that tells me that there's no real right and wrong. It's just we go through this dream with the best intention, and all we can do is trust that it's going to work out. We have our belief, and we have to trust in it, and life will go on, and things will work out in the end. I mean, we're guaranteed to succeed. Jesus tells us that in that Course. Once you start, you're guaranteed to succeed. So we just trust, and I love that. Have a good intention, and your actions will be fine, and no matter what you choose. Thank you.
Thank you. Livy.
Hi. Hi, everybody. I'm so glad to be here with y'all this morning, and I love everything I've heard. Ah, talk about when rubber meets the road. I got to put the rubber to the road this weekend. My sister had given me a tumbler a few years ago that said, "I'm an ant. What's your superpower?" And I have absolutely lived that for a very long time, especially where one particular niece has been concerned. And this past weekend, I was afforded the opportunity to let go of putting on my cape and flying in, telling myself the story that I need to go down and save and do what I've always done, and to be able to let go of the definition and the stories that I have put around Auntie Olivia, and to recognize, as was mentioned, what the intention is. And do I really trust and believe in the truth of the matter? And rather than the story that I've always told myself. And that story is of Auntie Olivia goes really, really deep. And it, yesterday I woke up and felt like I was just kind of exhausted and drained, and had kind of an emotional hangover with letting go and being willing to be in truth rather than in the Auntie Olivia story, and to be willing to let that go, with good guidance, that I received, and from Rana this Saturday. And so this reading this little short passage, just, it's short and so freaking powerful, kind of like me. I'm a short little person, but yep. And but it's not my power, it's power that I receive, and it's just been reaching out in every moment, just asking for truth to guide my way and be the words that I speak. And before I would even get into a text or a conversation with my niece, just say, may I say what you would have me say, and may she hear what you would have her hear. And so I'm grateful for these opportunities to be able to put the rubber to the road and to let go of the stories that keep me in division from my family members, from other people. And it's just, and it does go into compassion, that I'm able to see this one particular family member with compassion now and understanding, because I am her and I know where she is intimately. And so I'm just really, really grateful for this time that I get to spend with y'all, in communion with y'all, and in communion with the words that we read, and knowing that we're all reading that together, and I just so much gratitude, and just really thankful to be with y'all and everything that I get to learn. I always look forward. I so look forward to being with each of you, all of you in one, so thank you so, so much. And I love all y'all very, very much.
While I'm waiting for the next person, I'm going to read it again. No, I'm not. I'm going to hand the mic over to Richard.
Morning, everyone. First, I want to extend a light and love that I am in truth to all of us that are still in committees or working with others or whatever you're doing. Because I realized back in 2005, we had a weekend event here in St. Louis where all the hosts of Course in Miracles study groups got together and we had a weekend of local speakers. Friday night, all day, Saturday and Sunday until noon. And after that meeting that weekend, we decided that maybe we ought to form a leadership council in order to collaborate on and kind of be the central point of conversation for all the groups we had in the St. Louis area. We had about 13 study groups in St. Louis back then. So, and I was asked as a host of one of the meetings if I wanted to join the council. And I said no. I said, I'm working on my peace of mind. I spent almost 40 years of my life in committees and all these kind of groups. And I said, I know I will lose my peace of mind if I join any of these. So I declined. And, so I realized finally by 2007, I was ready to join the council. So I was on the council for 7 years, and it wasn't as bad as I had thought because I had studied the course for 2 more years and did the lesson. And I was ready for that crap. But I recognize how difficult it can be with putting the rubber on the road. That being said, without getting into the metaphysics of the course, I have a good friend back from those days. We get together once a month for lunch and we talk about the Course in Miracles. And a few years ago, I remember, first let me say that the thing that Cindy read today for our meeting was basically a judgment is attack. That's all I want to say about that. So my rubber met the road when I was having these lunches with my friend. And he has a different view of the Course. He believes in heaven. He believes when he dies, he will go to heaven and be able to have holy relationships with his father and mother and other souls he loved in the illusion. And so we differ a lot on a number of things like that. Basically, we both love the Course. So I remember we were talking about things like other people, maybe politics, and he would say, oh, I love it as my brother, but he's in the wrong mind. And I would say, well, you're judging him. You're judging him as being in the wrong mind. And he said, no, I'm not judging. I'm just observing. So, and it took me a while, a couple of years maybe. I just blew it off and said, well, that's where he is, that's where I am. But I still believed he was judging others. And then I realized, no, he's not judging others. I'm judging others. I'm judging him. Yeah. And I had to admit that I was seeing myself as separate from him. And I was guilty of the very thing I was trying to avoid. I wanted to be the love that I am, and here I was judging my brother as being as judging others. So it was an interesting lesson for me to learn. But I love you all with that. I love you sharing, and I love being here. Thank you.
Thank you. And before I hand it on to David, because I don't acknowledge when people raise their hand and then lower it again. I never see them lower it again. You can't you know. But I just want to acknowledge that that's actually today's lesson for me. And I wrote about it. I noticed in at least two different opportunities just today where I was listening to a teacher teach about how they know something that others don't know. Like I'm at peace while I'm watching other people suffer, right? I watched two separate people do that just today. And then I noticed I was judging them for it. And it created this, and because probably because I just started facilitating a Jesus in the New Testament course, I went to the Holy Spirit or inner wisdom with it. And I said, I'm watching this. Can you help me? And the instruction literally was, and I could read it if anybody wants, but essentially I was told, Cindy, sweetie, Cindy Sweet Pea. I didn't write it, but I like this idea. Um, just focus on taking the log out of your own eye for now, and love those with splinters. And literally that today. And I'm sitting here going, I'm not going to share this with this group. And then Richard did it for us. So thank you. It's like God in whatever form is laughing at me right now. All right, David.
I don't know if I put my hand down. All of a sudden, my little hand wasn't going there. But anyway, it's so interesting that when I write something and I have something I want to say, I wait until somebody says something that's similar, or it's an easy segue or something. So, oh yeah, and da 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 da. And so it's so interesting that I do that. And so today that hasn't happened, but I'm going to, it's so interesting. I'm going to take what I have to say and take it out into the sunshine and parade it around and see, and a couple of things happen. One is I get to hear it too. And that's so interesting that, that I'm hearing this for the first time, even though I wrote it this morning. So that's interesting. So here we go with today's. What if when we are coping with what we think is happening, we are granting our perception of reality? What if when we are hoping that we think things will get better in the future, we are harboring a fearing? What if when we are desperately grasping onto the past and trying to get it to disappear or to last, we are letting it become our jailer? What if we let all this go and let it know its hold on us is done and its time is up? We can break free, and this can always be if we only let it go when it is not serving us and send it on its way. What if the time for this to happen is now, and we need to wait no longer, and then we can be stronger for it? And so that's it. And I just thought I just want to say that today. So there I've spoken.
Thank you. Stunning. Wonderful hanging out with you, Chuck.
Wonderful being here, and that's why I raised my hand. I didn't want this to end without me being able to share not directly, but just how pertinent, how relevant, how blessed I feel to be able to be here and sharing what occurred today. Love you all.
Love you. And Barbie, your hand went up and down too. So it did. It went up. And then who else saw Barbie's hand go up?
I'm only kidding. Because I wanted to share, but then I didn't because my altered self didn't want me to talk because all of a sudden I got nauseous. And it's like, no, I'm not speaking, but that means I must want to speak. So I'm grateful for all your shares, because yesterday I read that paragraph once when I opened up the email and then once before I went to bed. And then I had I had a restless night and I went to the Holy Spirit twice and asked him, put it on the altar, and he helped me through it. But I guess we all connect. I'm grateful for your shares because somehow you were a part of my meditation this morning. Because what I felt, I took aspects of everybody's, what they were talking about, because I felt so much love and I was sending it out. I'm sending out love and light. And to anybody that receives it, and I was so blessed. I mean, without you guys, we're all one, and without us being one together, I can't go on because my mind's gone. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I guess you people might know what I'm trying to say. But I'm so blessed to be here in this group with the same vibration, high vibrations that we get. Love you guys.
Love us. Hey, Michelle. Love you too.
Hey, hey. So, Barbie, thank you for that. Thank you. I ditto that. May I just read a very short little something out of Christian Sundberg's book? It's very pertinent. I think he speaks in Course in Miracles lingo, but in this particular small snippet, he says, to put it in religious language, God's plan cannot fail. We all choose every day how readily we will work with it or not, but it cannot fail. The spiritual systems that are in place do, over time, encourage each of us to actually grow up towards love, to integrate our fears, and to fully express ourselves in a huge variety of conditions. As we do that, the plan of God is fulfilled. And despite how circumstances may appear on the surface, we are doing that right now. So take heart, have hope, and be encouraged. There is great opportunity and power in any given moment to choose love and compassion, even in the simplest of ways. As you do so, as a part of the one, yourself, you actually facilitate the successful fulfillment of the great plan for this universe. And I just want to say, I like your shimmy, Cindy.
This is my puppy dog. I call this my puppy dog joy shake.
Well, I like it. I think you need to, I'm sure you do that a lot with your music. So before I found all of you, I really would be paralyzed by fear. And so I'm just so inspired by Amy, by your story, Livy, by your story, all of you, Barbie, Cindy, Rana, all of you. And I used to think in my heart, no, I'm not going to evolve. I don't want to evolve because if I evolve, if I work through this fear, then something worse is going to come down the pike. There's going to be a bigger fear because I'm going to be asked to be a bigger soul. But that's, all these lies. And so I'm just consistently lifted up and inspired to face my fear, which seems like fear, but it's really, so I was sharing this with Amy the other day. It's really unharmable. So unharmable consciousness decides to create a challenge for me. I like looking at it this way. It's an unharmable consciousness. And all of you just consistently, whether we're in class or as a bunch of you shared out of class, I feel you. And you're all such a gift, indescribable. Thank you.
So Amy has just overcome, like, I'm feeling like Amy as I say, oh, you mean like, quote unquote, the fear of leading a book study of Christian's book? Like, okay. So I'm going to leave it at that.
Yeah, we already laid that one on her. And, well put, Michelle. Listen to your own words, my love.
You're muted, Michelle.
No, this is not lost on me.
Knew
Goodbye.
it wasn't.
I
Hey,
love you,
Nadega.
Michelle.
Nadega.
Hi, everyone. I just want to say how much I just love being here and hearing everybody. And it's just always just a reminder that everything is perfect and everything is God and everything is love, no matter what we're experiencing. So, and I just love being here with everyone. So, yeah, thank you so much.
All right, I am going to read this paragraph one more time, and then I'm going to hit the stop record button. Because it's that time. Here we go. Only love is strong because it is undivided. The strong do not attack because they see no need to do so. Before the idea of attack can enter your mind, you must have perceived yourself as weak because you attacked yourself and believed that the attack was effective. You behold yourself as weakened. No longer perceiving yourself and all your brothers as equal and regarding yourself as weaker, you attempt to equalize the situation you have made. You use attack to do so because you believe that attack was successful in weakening